The year was 2005. Luis Scott Vargas, aka LSV, who would go on to later be known as one of the greatest Magic the Gathering players of all time, shows up to a Magic tournament with a grand prize of a single piece of cardboard, a Mox Jet, a card that is today worth upwards of $8,000. The deck he was playing was powerful, although the game plan was somewhat complex. Essentially, the deck looks to play the card Gifts and Given at the end of the opponent's turn, and then on your own turn win the game. Gifts and Given allows you to look through your deck and take out any 4 unique cards. Then your opponent chooses 2 of those cards to be discarded, and the other 2 are put into your hand. The trick here is that you get 2 cards that allow you to play cards from your discard pile, meaning that you will always have access to whatever combination you need no matter what choice your opponent makes. With the 2 remaining cards, you can grab the famous Black Lotus for mana, and another card that lets you search your deck again to continue the combo. This chain reaction eventually ends by playing the card Burning Wish, which lets you take a card from outside the game and put it into your hand. The card you almost always get is Tendrils of Agony, which deals 2 damage to your opponent for each spell played that turn, usually resulting in an instant win. The first round of the tournament goes exactly to plan for Luis. He plays out the combo and his opponent knows the deck he's running, so simply concedes from the game when Luis goes to cast Burning Wish after playing a significant portion of the cards in his entire deck that turn. This is a common thing for Magic players to do when the opposing player is doing a combo, because if you know your opponent is going to win, then there is often no point in wasting time while they fiddle around with more cards. Round 2 goes the same way. Luis plays out his combo, his opponent gives up, and Luis wins. The only problem was that the whole time, LSV didn't even have Tendrils of Agony in his deck. It turns out that when Luis was preparing for the tournament, he realized he was 1 card short of a full deck, and he decided to add in a card draw spell, Deep Analysis. What he didn't realize was that the card he was missing was his only win condition, Tendrils of Agony. Without this 1 card, the only way he had of killing his opponent was a single large creature that would take about 3 turns to kill, giving the opponent plenty of time to make a comeback. But Burning Wish takes the card from outside the game, so everything is fine. Luis can just find someone with the card he needs and borrow it for the tournament, right? Or can he? You see, outside the game does not actually mean that you get to pull any card you feel like out of your backpack and use it. In most Magic the Gathering tournaments you actually have 2 sets of cards, a main deck and a sideboard. The main deck is what you would normally expect a Magic deck to be, but a sideboard is a smaller pool of cards designed to be swapped in and out of the main deck between games and best 2 out of 3 matches. Due to a technicality in the rules, in sanctioned Magic the Gathering events, cards that let you choose cards from outside the game can only select cards from your sideboard, and due to another rule, you cannot change your main deck or sideboard during a tournament. What this essentially means is that Luis would never be able to play the 1 card he needs to win the game for the duration of this tournament, because it wasn't in his registered deck list at the beginning. He would be stuck with the singular Darksteel Colossus, which was a vastly inferior win condition. But there is another way. LSV could just continue playing his combo, bluffing that he has the Tendrils of Agony in his sideboard. Everyone at the event knows what deck Luis is playing. If his first 2 opponents conceded the game before seeing the Tendrils, then maybe the others would too. After all, why wouldn't he have the most important card in his deck? After round 2, Luis finally realizes while putting his cards back that he doesn't actually have the Tendrils of Agony in his sideboard, and that it was the missing card from before. But what was he going to do? In round 3 of the tournament, Luis starts playing his combo knowing that if his opponent simply sits in their chair and does nothing but stare at the wall, he will be playing cards aimlessly and eventually reach a brick wall once he has to choose a card for Burning Wish. What Luis chooses to do is say something along the lines of, "I play Burning Wish with 15 spells cast and 12 mana available," which to his opponent signals that Luis has won the game due to having all the mana and cards available to do so, essentially a checkmate. This doesn't technically break the rules of the game because he didn't actually name a card not in his sideboard for Burning Wish, because his opponent concedes from the game before Burning Wish resolves and Luis must choose a card to put into his hand, thus winning in round 3. Luis continues to bluff his way through the remaining rounds of Swiss until he finds himself in the cut to top 8 playoffs, which is in a single elimination format. By some miracle, he manages to win his top 8 match as well, and then the top 4 players all agree to a tie to split the prizes. This ends up leaving Luis Scott Vargas with a 4-way tie for first place in the tournament, and nobody even knew until after the event that he did it all without actually having the winning card in his deck. You might wonder what other players thought of LSV's antics once they found out. Luis later wrote that the local players reacted with amusement and disbelief, and some even suspected that he had done this on purpose as a kind of galaxy-brain deck-building strat. While with hindsight we know that on this particular occasion it was an accident, there is actually an interesting argument to be made for not including a win condition in your combo deck. The reasoning is that by removing 1 otherwise useless card from your deck, you can replace it with another more useful card. This, after all, is why the deck played Burning Wish in the first place. Tendrils of Agony is only useful after you've already completed most of your combo. In contrast, Burning Wish can grab another sorcery card from your sideboard in a pinch. If you assume that virtually all opponents will concede before Burning Wish resolves, then you could replace Tendrils of Agony with another useful sideboard card, which might come in handy sometimes. Of course, you don't see people doing this, and it's probably because they estimate that the minor increase in win percentage from gaining an extra sideboard card isn't worth the added stress and chances of a player not giving up and finding out that you don't actually have a win condition. Thanks for watching the video, subscribe if you liked it, and have a nice day.